This is what we use as or what we refer to as a blue gauge tool. We get these from Fastenal. On one side, you'll see that you can measure in metric, and on the other side, we measure in standard. Also, we have holes to measure the diameter of bolts or the holes in washers in standard size. And also on the other side, we have that in metric. To measure the inside diameter of standard nuts, we have the 7/16 half, 9/16, and 5/8 on one side. And then if you flip it around, we have the 3/8, 6, 8, 10, quarter, and 5/16 on the other. Then on the back side of this tool, along here, and I know it's hard to see in the video, but we have what we call a thread pitch gauge on the back. And in the videos following this, we'll show you how we go about utilizing this thread pitch. And then if you look over here, this is for metric nuts, and hopefully we'll be able to show you how that works here too as well. So to further understand how we use the blue gauge tool, we have to figure out where we get this information from. So if we look at the Traveler as a whole, in the top left-hand corner, you'll see what we call a part description, and at the end will be what they actually call that part here. So when we're looking at this description, you'll see right away that you have an SHCS, which stands for socket head cap screw. And that is maybe kind of hard to see there, but... And then right next to that, we're going to have these measurements. 1/2, 20 by 1/2. And how that reflects in the blue gauge tool is we will first take that first 1/2, which is the diameter of our bolt, and make sure that it fits. Not too loose, not too snug, just goes right in there. Way too loose in the next hole, can't fit in the hole next to it. So it fits perfectly in that 1/2 hole. Next is 20, and that is referring to our thread pitch, and that of course is on the back. And it's probably hard to see the numbers on there, but there is one that's labeled as a 20, and we'll push that on there with our thumb kind of tight and just make sure that it's not going to fall off of there when we go to try and pull it off. And that's it. It's got a nice tight fit, so we know that's a 20. That last 1/2 that's on here is referring to the length of the threads themselves. So when we go to measure this, we're going to put the shoulder of the bolt on the corner of the blue gauge tool, and as you can see, it is either right on that half mark or really, really close. So we would call that a good part to go. And with some companies, I mean, you might see that it's a little over half, a little under a half. But as long as we got most of our measurements right, that's what we're looking for, to at least be in that ballpark. So, okay, here we're going to show you one more example of different type of part that you'll find on the shop floor. And let's try to zero in on that upper left-hand portion of the Traveler so that you guys can see. Okay, and then just to make it easier for everybody again, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the important part, and it's always at the end. So this time we have what is called an HHCS on the Traveler, or what we would call a hex head cap screw. And this is what they look like. They'll come in varying lengths and sizes, but overall this is what you're looking at when somebody refers to a hex head cap screw. Okay, so now just to double check, let's look at some of the measurements that we got here. So we have M6 So right away we know that's going to be metric. M6 1 by 70. So let's take out the blue gauge tool and see how that applies to us. Alright, so last time we used this standard side, but now obviously that we have a metric bolt, we're going to have to use this metric side. And with it being calling for an M6, we're going to look on the metric side and find metric 6, which is this hole here. We're just going to make sure it fits. It makes a great fit. 7 is too loose, doesn't fit in 5. So we know that 6 is going to be a good fit for that one. Now the next measurement that we have is 1, which again is our thread pitch. So we're going to flip this around to this side here and find our number 1, which is the third or fourth one from the top here. And we're going to put some pressure on it and try and pull out and away from the threads. But this one has a nice tight fit, so it won't let us do that. So we know it's a number 1. Our last measurement that it gives us for a description is 70 by 70. So we want to use the same metric side because we're still talking about a metric bolt. We're going to rest the head of the bolt on the corner. And if you see there, the tip of the threads go all the way down to the 70 millimeter mark. So that's how we get our measurement. We got metric 6. We know the thread pitch on the back is a number 1. And when we flip it back around, we know that the bolt is going to be 70 millimeters long.